Hey everyone, welcome to Was That in Good Taste? I'm one of your hosts. My name's going to be Chandler Phillips. With me, as always, is your incredible, indomitable other co host,
James Beery.
And today we got a super special episode for you because we are going to help me confront my severe aversion to mornings. But before we get into therapizing for me and my trauma dump, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Engage with us. Tell us why you hate mornings, or better yet, tell us how I can fix myself. We also have a really fun cocktail for us that we're going to get into at the start of the episode. It is what is bringing us to this topic in the first place. I think it has a little to do with mornings, but more it has to do with why I don't like mornings. We have this little fun cocktail right here. We haven't tried it yet. We're going to be tasting it, reviewing it, executing on the vision as we speak. It is called the Midnight Oil. And the reason it relates to this topic, to this episode, is because I think part of my problem is I was too busy burning the midnight oil to give a shit about doing anything in the morning. And so we're just going to kind of get into that. I want to talk to James about what his morning routine is because he was working at like 6 a.m. for a long time. And honestly, just the thought of that gets me a little nauseous. So first, let's try this drink. Let's give our review. Let's tell him what it is. I'm going to tell him what goes into it while you give it a little tasty taste. And then you're going to say how you prepared it, how you made it. And then I'm going to give it a little tasty taste. And then we're going to come back together and say reviews, perceptions, and all of that. So
it's time to burn. Come on, I gotta say it. It's time to burn the midnight oil. I've been a little quiet, okay? I'm not yapping that much today. Okay?
I'm a little over caffeinated, so I'm gonna be yapping a bit. So first of all, this cocktail is credited. Its creation is credited to Brett Essler of Whistler's in Austin, I'm guessing Texas. We found it from liqueur.com, and it just looked so tantalizing and delicious that I had no choice but to want to feature it. It is a rum cocktail made with an aged rum with a little bit of ginger liqueur and a banana liqueur, and then topped with a splash of cold brew coffee and a couple dashes of vanilla extract. James, how did we go about on executing this vision?
This is a very simple, actually martini-like cocktail. Very simple. 1.5 ounces of dark rum, a 1/4 ounce each of ginger liqueur and of banana liqueur, and then about 3/4 of an ounce of cold brew. And I'll tell you, by just looking at it, I see where it gets the name Midnight Oil. It has here this kind of light brown, yellowy kind of hue. It's nice, it's clear, and it smells a lot of banana. The ginger is very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
The cold brew is actually an interesting warm thread, right? That's kind of, I think, holding this all together. Something I'm not a big coffee. I love coffee, and I love black coffee, but coffee and cocktails, as you know, for me, is not really my thing. Top that with the bruleed banana, which was soaked in banana liqueur before it's bruleed.
I think that's a really nice touch.
I think that this is a very straightforward but delicious cocktail.
Would you consider it kind of a tropical cocktail? Because usually stuff that we see with banana liqueur in it tends to have a bit of a more tropical-y vibe. But this one, I feel like the banana, instead of giving tropical, it's giving breakfast because you got the banana and the coffee. Breakfast of champions, by the way. Cold brew coffee and a banana. That was like my go-to during the COVID lockdowns because I don't know, it just sets you up. You get caffeine, you get a nice little coffee robustness, and then the banana makes sure you don't cramp up because you're super dehydrated.
This is a dinner or late evening cocktail.
Ooh.
That's why you're burning the midnight oil.
How late?
It's a little bit, 1:00 in the morning. You're saying to yourself, I want to play another. I would like to play some more poker with my friends. I feel like this is there's like a little bit of class, I think, associated with this.
There's a sophistication to it.
I think a lot of that comes from the ginger liqueur. I think that's just not really an ingredient that people will often have in their homes?
So the ginger liqueur was actually kind of interesting because the recipe itself said most of these other ingredients you can use whatever you got on hand. You know, they gave their specifics for like, oh, you want to use Mount Gay black barrel rum, but really any aged rum will do. And you want to use like Domaine Giffard Banana du Brésil. What is-
Or any banana?
or any banana liqueur.
It says that in their recipe.
But they said specifically Domaine de Canton ginger liqueur is significantly different. And it's a totally different vibe or a specialized vibe curated for this specific cocktail. I could have gone with Stone's. Stone's a ginger liqueur. That one's a wine-based one. This one, I believe, is a either brandy or rum-based. It's spirit-based, to say the least. And it brings a little bit higher alcohol content than Stone's, and I think that that comes through and kind of blends a little. Usually, liqueurs that have a higher alcohol content have a fuller expression of whatever the extract is because the alcohol is able to bond with those flavonoids a bit better, or those like little flavor molecules that are bouncing around. The alcohol is able to be like, yeah, I got you now. And you get a more thorough expression of whatever it is that you're drinking. So I think the ginger, granted on first sip, you don't really get too much of it, but it does kind of help. It's like an alto, where it doesn't have a whole lot of range, but you need it there to just kind of help all the different harmonies bridge together. I think the coffee is more like a baritone, where it's like a deep bass, and you kind of need that to keep the rest of the rhythm going. And that banana, that's just that melody. That's that what's above an alto? Is that a soprano?
Soprano?
Yeah.
I think that you're actually, so this actually reminds me of a cocktail that I used to make, which was a cold brew cocktail with ginger beer, right? Ginger and cold brew is actually a very popular combination. I think that the ginger is actually amplifying the bitterness
Mm-hmm.
in the cold brew, while the banana is kind of evening that out. And I think this kind of works thematically. We have here the kind of thing where it's effectively 1.5 ounces of liquor plus some more liquor
Plus
plus
a little bit more liquor
a little bit more liquor with the banana
and some coffee.
and some coffee.
And
It's like, it's almost like a Red Bull.
yeah, it's the it's the philosopher's vodka Red Bull, except it's got bananas, which I cannot express how much I love the flavor combination of bananas and coffee. Like that's what really had me hooked on this. Was I was like, "Oh, well we got that 99 bananas. Let's see what we can make with that." And then as soon as I saw something that was like, "Put cold brew with it." I was like, "Oh, obviously. Hell fucking yeah, I'm going to put cold brew with bananas. That's a match made in heaven." And so I'm thinking that this might have to bump its way to one of this would be a regular specialty cocktail in my cocktail lounge. This would be like jazz nights. And it would be a starting lineup one.
You have 12 cocktails, right? You know, and you have a martini, a margarita, you know, like a fancier kind of mule, and you have a lot of sweet cocktails, and then you have this, still sweet, but this is way more subdued, way less sweet, and this is definitely the drink that the person in your party who drinks their coffee black and doesn't want a margarita, this is what they'd get.
It's almost in the kind of old fashioned family. It's what kind of classic? I know. I guess old fashioned would be.
It's its own category.
It is its own category because it's not like a coffee martini or like any sort of other kind of coffee based cocktail. Like it's not Irish coffee.
It's rum with a bitter. Coffee is bitter.
The coffee is the bitter. So it's
is ginger.
Aged spirit.
Yeah.
And the one that we have is Florida Canya the 4-year, which listen, of the large format rums that we have tried on this show, Flor de Caña is one of my favorites because it is the least offensive. We tried what was it, Chairman's Reserve, and I appreciate where they were trying to go with it. It came off with too much, almost like a banana, like a rotten banana peel. Whereas I think a good semi-aged rum already kind of has those notes of like caramel and banana, and then using that with the banana liqueur with a bruleed banana garnish, that just helps kind of amplify what's already good about the rum without overdoing it, or without letting the rum get a little too self-centered in the cocktail.
I think that's why Mount Gay is kind of a good choice for this. I think Mount Gay is relatively inoffensive, but it has more body than what we have right now. So I think you would get a little bit more spice. I think you would get a little more spice.
I could also see this being really fun with like a spiced, like an actual spiced rum, like Kraken, like a real dark spiced rum. I think that would bring out some really fun notes in this. Or switch it up entirely and go with like a 10-year bourbon. Like this with like Eagle Rare, that would hit. Or I'm going to throw this one at you. This with the Brooklyn 77 wheat whiskey, again, already has some notes of banana in it. That would, I think, only amplify the vibe that this is going for.
Brooklyn 77 tricks you with the banana, too.
Yeah.
On the nose, it reminds me of Buffalo Trace, Brooklyn 77, where it has like a lot of banana. But whereas I think Buffalo Trace doesn't taste like banana.
It kind of tapers off and almost gives you like an apple peel kind of vibe.
That Hudson definitely tastes like banana.
Oh, the 77?
Yeah, the 77.
Yeah, that's... Because we also, I think we've tried the Hudson. I don't know if
I think we did the 77 once. We also did. I think we did. Was it a rye? We got to redo these. We have to revisit these. We got to revisit these.
But I think this would be a cocktail that that does kind of platform that spirit. And also, I have talked shit about 99 Bananas before because it seems like the kind of thing that like, if you're buying just 99 Bananas, I'm concerned for your well-being because it is a almost 100 proof liqueur that tastes strongly of banana, and it's so sweet. It's just such a saccharine thing already. It's almost like it's in the same category in my head as like Rumpelmints.
But I think you remember it being more saccharine than it is. We're not going to focus on it too much here, but I have to say, we've had it. It's not as sweet as we remember.
It's not as sweet.
And it could be, one, they've changed the bottle. They could have changed the recipe.
Maybe they turned their whole banana
They really
around.
could have, because it's been out for a long time, right? But also, I think that there's definitely a difference between sneaking a little tiny bottle when you're 18 or something, versus like you're a whole grown ass adult,
and it's just one facet of a larger bottle or a larger bottle collection on your bar of a bunch of different cordials. I think I'm pleasantly surprised with the glow up that 99 Banana has had.
We're gonna have to get the whole range, so we can apple, so we could pair, we could do all of it.
We could do all of it.
If you want that, make sure you comment.
I also want to give just as we're on the topic of banana liqueurs, there's also one that I think they're still around. I had heard from a friend that they were working with a distillery out of Las Vegas to make a banana whiskey, and I think they said like our whiskey uses like 100 bananas a batch in order to flavor, and this whiskey, I swear to you, tastes just like banana bread. And it was like, it didn't have like that kind of runts, like candy banana flavor. It was just straight up banana bread. And I would love to be able to find that if it's still around. I think it was called like Ambrose, or it might have been Ambrosia, something along that line. I think this, again, would do very well with that kind of spirit. It gets you up in the morning and it puts you to sleep at night.
That's one of the most fun things about making cocktails at home is that you don't have to stick to a recipe. You can take your time and you can use what you have,
The rules are there are no rules.
or you can try something new. So if you want to try this cocktail, the recipe is going to be in the show notes section below. If you try it, tag us, let us know what you think about it. I feel like people are going to like this. I feel like this is going to be a staple in a lot of people's homes now.
You know what? I'm calling it right now. Summer 2024. Espresso martinis out, midnight oils in.
Especially because I don't like them. I don't like an espresso martini.
Really? Why don't you like an espresso?
I think that it just ruins it because they just,
What?
yeah.
What
I don't
about
even like martinis that much.
what about like a do you think there's a distinct difference between an espresso martini and a cold brew martini?
Yes.
Because I tend to favor a cold brew martini over an espresso martini for the sake of convenience alone, because you can get like one of those Kirkland signature cold brew in a can that's already got a little bit of vanilla in it, and so you just do that and then vodka and then maybe a creamer, maybe just like some sort of
We're
sweetener,
different people.
and
No,
then
you're
you
just
shake
out
it
here.
up,
You're
and
just
then-
out here throwing stuff in a glass. You're like, man, I would like an espresso martini today. Let me get a cup of coffee. Leave it outside for 2 hours. You know.
Yeah, let me make some coffee. Let it get to room temperature, and then and then I'll throw it into a glass. I'll shake it up. I'm an improvisation. I'm very versatile in that way. You know, I'm reactive. I think that's just one of my many facets. Now,
Along with the facet of you being a person who, if you need, this is Chandler. If you need Chandler to do anything before 5, you're kind of shit out of luck.
that's a big ask. That is
Okay.
a big ask.
I'm crawling out of bed. Oh man, Chandler, asleep. If I'm up at 4 a.m. and I go on Discord, playing Baldur's Gate,
Still
playing
there.
Civ, playing Red Dead Redemption.
And you know what? I'm actively playing too. It's not just like on in the background and I fell asleep with it. I am in it. And I'll also have another screen going too that has like Bob's Burgers or something so that I can stay engaged even when the game is in a down or is in a lull. I think I have a problem.
I think you have a problem.
So, you know, I've heard these. I've heard this term used where it's like you stay up just for the sake of like having some sort of autonomy in the nighttime, where there's like a almost like a revenge procrastination to go to sleep. And I think that's what I have, where I'm like rebelling against God and the rest of society that tells me that I need to be up and moving and like a participating member of society from the hours of like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Like that's what society tells me I need to be productive. And I spit in the face of that.
So you'd rather be unproductive between the hours of 9 at night and 9 in the morning?
Well, I'm still productive, but that's me time. That is it's a reclamation of my autonomy by staying up during the hours where everyone else is asleep. There's something beautiful about burning the midnight oil because you're like, I can do work unbothered, unmitigated. And if I don't want to do work, no one's gonna give me shit because they're all asleep. They're gonna be like, oh, no one's gonna check in on me if I'm doing the work that I want to do in the late hours of the evening because they can't catch me. I'm operating under the cloak of darkness, and and there's freedom in that, and that's why I love the midnight oil so much. Is it gives me the like this sense of like clandestine, there.
This guy thinks he's Paul Revere. Over here.
I'm romanticizing the
inability.
twilight.
He's romanticizing the inability to sleep healthily.
Yeah. Well, I like to think of it as just I'm a little nocturnal sometimes, and I have really tried to fix my nocturnal ways. And so I'll set alarms like on my alarm clock from like 8 a.m. to 10:30 every half hour. And then by the time I hit like 10:30, then it goes to the hour marks where then it's 11:30 and then it's 12:30. But here's the thing. Being unemployed gives you a lot of leeway to not have to get up at any given time. It's like when you're self-employed, right? And so you're like, oh, well, I'm self-employed. I'll tell myself I'll be productive starting at this hour. And then it gets to that time and you're like, well, fuck my boss. They're a pushover. It's me.
They're not going to tell me what to do.
Like
If anything, they'll like it if I don't work.
Exactly.
You know what? We'll not work together.
We're gonna not work together. And so this episode concept came at in kind of a 3 a.m. mania of just like I was sitting at my computer, I was looking at our podcast episode ideas, and I was like, you know, we gotta write something. I gotta come up with something. You know what? Let's do mornings because I can't stand the morning. I can't stand it. And I always have. I can't think of a time in my history of even in school, going back to elementary school, where I ever had a positive relationship with the morning.
I love mornings.
How do you love? What's there to love?
I am obsessed with mornings.
I need to know how do you do that? How do you change the paradigm? How do you enjoy a morning without just creating anxiety and stress for yourself? Because there have been mornings that most of the time when I wake up in the quote unquote morning, I want to kill myself and then everyone else who talks to me. Sorry, unalive. I forget that you're clipping these now. and so like how do you either push through that, or how do you just change the paradigm with that relationship between you and time of day?
Well, it just so happens that you're speaking to a very unhealthy person. It's not so much that I go to sleep at 8 o'clock and wake up at 4. It's called trauma. I go to sleep at 3 and I wake up at like 5:30, 6 every morning.
So you too burn the midnight oil.
How do you think I see you? How do you think I see you on Discord? I know you're awake because I'm on Discord.
I just thought that was like you wake up from a nap. Or like,
no, you ever see
you jolt yourself awake, you look at your computer and you're like, oh, Chandler's there. Oh, thank God, he's alive.
Sometimes it'll be like 3:30 in the morning and I'll like send you a TikTok or something. It's because I'm awake.
Yeah.
That's true. So here's the thing. When I was much younger, I had to get up early for school. I used to lose my student metro card. So I had to walk an hour and a half to the train. So I got really used to getting up too early because I didn't want to go to school.
You walked an hour and a half just to get to the train?
No, to get to school.
Okay.
Because I had to walk all the way from 167th Street to 184th Street in Fordham Road in case somebody wants to check me. And then I had to walk all the way down.
I don't think they want to check you, but I think they want to walk a mile in your shoes.
They would walk a mile in my shoes. And I used to listen to the radio, right? Now, here's the thing. When I ended up moving to Brooklyn, I had a hard time in school. I didn't want to go to school because people had been torturing me. So I used to always go to school early.
But wait, what?
Because I didn't want to go to school.
You said, I don't want to go to school, so I'm going to
You have to leave the house.
Extra school.
You have to leave the house to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in junior high, I used to leave the house with my mother, take the train, and then at my stop, I'd get off, say goodbye, then go back home and go back home. And then you get in trouble for not going to school. So you have to go to school. So how do you reclaim your time? It's like staying up late. If you get up at like 4, you can listen to your radio show. If you get up at 4, you can go outside for a nice long walk. And if you get up at 4, you don't have to rush to school because you don't have your Metro card. You can leave a little early, take your sweet time, listen to your favorite radio show, maybe go to the store, then you get to school early, then you get to hang out with your friends in the lunchroom. You're not really engaged with. It's all about it's like you said, reclaiming your time. The getting up early is not a fun thing. I do it because when you're up early, there's nobody.
It's true.
It's silent. So I sleep for like 4 hours.
There's such a peacefulness to like the twilight of early morning. And I do love that moment where like you see the sun just starting to peek over the rooftops and stuff, and like everything outside is just a little gray, but it's quiet and there's a stillness, but not in like an ominous stillness, but in like a just everything's kind of at peace. Like have you ever seen a lake or a body of water or something like that before everyone's there?
I live in a city. I've never seen that before. Oh, well, I've never seen a lake or river before in the morning. Oh man.
Well, just
I have. Yes, I have.
Can you relate? Can you relate to the
can.
beauty of a perfectly still lake, and you get out and you can hear like straight across it, and it's gorgeous.
And that's actually, so here's the thing, like my perfect morning, right?
Yeah.
My perfect morning also correlates with kind of my perfect routine.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I have to go somewhere, you don't understand it, but I guess you also do. If I have to go somewhere, I'm supremely anxious.
Mm.
If I get up long enough and I get to enjoy my time enough, right, then I'm a little less anxious. So like my perfect morning is, I wake up before work too early. I'm up at 4, but I'm not that tired. I have enough time maybe to get in a few games of League.
You can play video games before you get into your day?
Yeah.
That's a wild concept.
I make my whole day, but I can't after. Like I get so much. That's why it's like weird. I struggle playing video games because I'm not anxious about the game, but I just have a general anxiety, probably because I have a lot of games, in a little bit of time and have to make a decision. So it's like, so I'm just not going to do it. But like in the morning, you know what? I can play a few ARAMs. Okay. I'm up at 4. I had to be at work at 8. I can play 3 ARAMs, make coffee, right? Then you're sitting on the computer. The next thing you know, like especially when I start smoking, it's like now I'm high. I'm full. I've played some of my video game, and literally I'm like dazed out at my phone. And then I would get on my scooter and I would ride 7 minutes to work.
That sounds pretty nice. That sounds real quaint and like
go outside. And I love it especially when you work early. Oh, you go outside, and it's like the nighttime has this weird. I'm about to get poetic.
Mm-hmm.
The nighttime, right? It feels like people always talk about dreams, the land of dreams, but nighttime has this weird, sticky, thick feeling, right? It's people who are going to sleep. The day has not ended for them. So even at 12 at night, it feels busy. The energy feels busy, right? People, you can feel the vibrations of people in their houses, people laughing with their girlfriends, having joy. But in the morning,
how dare they? How dare they have joy? Fuck them.
But at 4 a.m, when people are truly asleep, when not only they're asleep, they're in REM.
And it's like it's a deep sleep.
The wind is like calm. It's light. It's dewy. Maybe a little foggy. You can smell especially in the spring. You can smell the flowers blooming. It's like amazing. It's like and then I used to live.
God, the way you're describing it is very poetic. I might be coming around.
And I used to wake up my mother, this is a perfect idea of like a perfect morning. Like this is why I get up so early, right? My mother, after 9/11, she worked in the towers. They moved her job to, I think, Jersey. So she had to commute from the Bronx to Jersey. So she had to get up at like 4 a.m. So she got up. I was 16, but I got up. Or 14 or 15, whatever. I got up. And I used to look out the window from the 6th floor of my building and to see the slow, warm sunrise over the buildings, you know, and then I would like take my dog up to the roof. You're a New Yorker now, so now you get it, right?
I get it.
I would take my dog up to the roof, and you would look out at the city, and you would see people beginning their day. You know, that's like when kids are screaming in the afternoon, right, and they're playing. But in the morning, it's like laughter.
When kids wake you up in the afternoon and they're playing and having fun outside, it makes you really want to throw a shoe at them. Just be like, hey, knock it off. People are trying to sleep here.
It's like, if you ever hear a kid, it's like, what the fuck, is somebody getting hurt? But in the morning, it's like kids laughing and people smiling and getting coffee. It's like people, like, nighttime sucks if you run into anybody. Everybody's tired, they're cranky, they're drunk or inebriated. Mornings feel like an opportunity. Mornings feel like an opportunity.
I do feel the solidarity of being awake with people in the mornings, but I think part of it is because I feel like I'm suffering so much that I'm like, ugh, we all hate commuting. And there's a sense of solidarity when you're up at like 10 a.m. and you're like, ugh, no one wants to be awake right now.
Think about how you messed up. Think about this. When you lived in the West Coast, you had to commute for work. You would get up. Oh, I got to drive to work.
Ugh.
You know it's going to take you 30 minutes, but there's traffic, 45 to an hour. So you leave at an hour and you still sometimes get to work late. Me, I would leave 2 hours early. No. The traffic doesn't control me, right? I'm taking my time because I want to, because I want to finish some more of this book. I want to be on the phone a little bit more. I want to see a little bit more of what's going around. I want to go to that store near my work. You know what I mean? Like it's like taking ownership of your time.
Yeah.
You know, because who likes the feeling of like having to get up and you didn't get a chance to sleep a lot, right? That's not like fun. It doesn't feel good. There's no physical joy in that.
Honestly, I think that's the biggest. No one has suffered more than someone who doesn't get to sleep as much as they want. I think that is the...
But I never get to sleep anywhere, as much as I want.
But you're depriving yourself of your own sleep.
But I'm doing it because being up at night is amazing. The girlfriend goes to sleep. What do? I literally, she goes to sleep, and then I just like live a second life for an hour.
Right? Like that's fun too. Like I'll see the girlfriend and the dog asleep in the bed. Neither of them are bigger than 5 feet, and like that they are both small beings, and yet have managed to take up all of my bed. And I'll look at that. I'm like, you know what? I got to go to bed yet. I'm gonna watch a couple more episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I'm gonna play a little video game, play a little Rocket League or something, and I'm gonna just keep vibing. And I'm gonna smoke a little bit more, and maybe have another little drink, and then next thing you know, it's 5 a.m. and I'm like, oh geez, oh now I'm in a conundrum, a quandary of, do I go to bed and try to sleep for 4 hours? Or do I just say, fuck it, power through the next 2 hours? Now it's 7 a.m. and now I can just start my day.
And that's where I think you mess up, which is you have to go to sleep at some point, right? So like,
what?
I try to make it so like, even if I have to get up at 5 a.m, I try not to stay up past 2:30. I just try not to do that, because then you stay up and then you're gonna break. This is like separate. This is not like psychological. This is like physiological. You break yourself when you do that. When you stay up all day and all night, and then as you get older, you can't do that. What's gonna happen? Then you're gonna start feeling terrible, and you're gonna start feeling fatigue and dizziness and fogginess and loss of mental clarity. So like, you have to sleep a little bit. And some studies have shown that laying in bed, trying to sleep but not falling asleep, is more effective than not doing that.
But doing that, laying in bed, trying to fall asleep and not falling asleep, gives me so much anxiety, because I'm like, why can't I just... I'm telling my own brain to fuck off at that point, and it's still not.
You gotta... No. I'm about to teach you the trick.
Like I think that is actually at the root of so much of my discomfort with mornings, because I feel like there's a ticking clock. Once you say I need to be up at this time, now there's a whole ticking clock aspect of like, I need to be asleep by this time and I need to be awake by this time. And if I'm not, then I am intrinsically a bad person, or I'm bad at being a person. And therefore, if I just stay awake, or if I procrastinate, having to put myself to sleep, or if I procrastinate having to wake up at a certain time, I can at least alleviate that anxiety. But I think it all just comes back to the source, or the sense of just extreme discomfort, and almost like I feel like I'm letting down the coach that's in my head when I can't fall asleep in time to feel like I'm getting a restful night's sleep. Is that crazy?
What is that? You have a person. You have like a. It's like you didn't fall asleep in time.
Yeah.
You didn't fall asleep in time. Hey, Chandler. The only person that affects you if you don't sleep in time is you. It doesn't affect anybody else.
No, but if I don't fall asleep in time, then that means I don't get enough sleep, and then I'll wake up fatigued and irritable, and then I'm a dick to people around me. And then it's other people's problems.
That explains a lot.
Or or I've had this happen where like I am like physically fatigued or nauseous. Like I used to get like morning sickness where I just felt generally like I wanted to puke if I was awake before like 7 a.m.
Okay. This is taking a turn. This sounds like psychological trauma. That does not sound healthy.
Well, and okay, what I genuinely think it is either like it's a blood sugar thing, or maybe I'm not hydrated enough before I go to bed. But then, so say like, oh, I got to be hydrated before I go to bed, otherwise I'm going to wake up nauseous. No, then I end up waking 3 hours later because I got to pee.
I'm going to sound so ableist, but like if you're not completely hydrated at night, you have like a problem in the morning? What?
Yeah, my head hurts, my neck hurts, my tummy aches, and I just kind of want to like.
How are you so delicate? That's so interesting. I'm not mad at it.
That's why I hate mornings. It's cause like okay. I'd say this probably started like where I felt nauseous when I wake up. Probably started in like 7th grade, and it took me until about like, let's say junior year of high school until I started self-medicating to try to alleviate this nauseousness. And I can't tell if it was an anxiety-induced thing, if it was a health-induced thing, because part of it also was I played a lot of sports. Like I did a lot of sports that I didn't necessarily enjoy, but I knew that they were good for me, like keeping me active, keeping me health-wise. I did wrestling for 3 years in middle school. Hated every second of it. Hated having to wrestle. I hated the practices and dreaded, like, I would get to like the last class of the day and be like, God, I hope something happens to where wrestling practice gets canceled. And it wouldn't. And then, and then it wouldn't get canceled, and I'd go to wrestling practice. I'd be exhausted. I'd be fatigued, and then I'd get home and be like, okay, well, now I got to do all this fucking homework, and now I got to make sure I get all my other shit done so that way I can just do it all again in the morning. And it just kind of became a cycle of like dreading that I had to be asleep at a certain time so that it would be like mentally there and physically there enough to do the extracurriculars that I think I enjoyed playing the games. Like when I did sports and stuff, I enjoyed playing the games and I enjoyed like being an active person. It was just it was drills. Really, it was drills, and it was the anxiety that came with feeling like I wasn't good enough to participate in the parts that I liked doing in order to like keep doing it. So like I wasn't a fast runner or anything, but like I played offensive line and stuff when I did football, and so like we would do drills that are like just wind sprints. It's just running wind sprints. My least favorite thing. I'm gonna feel like shit afterwards, but not just physically like shit. I'm gonna feel inferior to all of my peers in this situation too. So not only do I have the like, ugh, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, but also I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be able to play the part that I like to play in this thing because I can't keep up in the other in just the practice. And so like that compounding anxiety, and I'm thinking like, oh, well, maybe it's because I'm fatigued because I don't get enough sleep or something along those lines, or if I'm too tired at the end, or if I just needed a fucking nap. But it all kind of came back to I would wake up, or I'd have to wake up super early to just be ready for the day. And then it became like every morning is a constant negotiation with how quickly can I calculate how long it takes me to get ready for the thing that I absolutely have to be ready for versus how long can I sleep to try to squeeze the most out of the fact that I can fall asleep right now. You know?
He's like, if I'm sleeping,
I'm gonna sleep. So if I'm gonna be asleep and I gotta be ready for school at like 7:30, then I'm gonna sleep till like 7:20, and like, and then it just like now I'm really pushing the envelope as far as
you don't feel guilt when you're asleep, right? I'm just saying, if you fall asleep eventually, you're gonna be asleep.
Do you not feel guilt when you're asleep? Because I definitely feel guilt when dude, I'll have dreams that manifest in guilt. I had a dream the other day, and I can not calculate, but I can like say it. The dream only happened between the hours of 8:30 to 10:30 because, first alarm went off, turned that off, and then I went and turned off the middle one, the 9:30 one. And then just gave myself the 8:30 to 10:30. And in that time, had a dream where the whole dream was just I had to take an easy exam. And instead, every little thing that came up in the dream would pull my attention away, even though I consciously knew that I was supposed to take the exam. And it's like, that's just guilt, man. Because then it's like shame. I'm angry with myself for like, why can't you just pay attention? Why can't you just do the thing that you said you were going to do? And instead now I'm internalizing guilt psychologically. Like
I'm laughing because I'm scared.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I needed to talk through this relationship, this tumultuous relationship I have with mornings.
What does your morning routine look like? Like maybe that's where the problem is.
Okay, so like my right now morning routine, or like when I was good.
I think
right now I'm not good.
Yeah, what's your
oh god.
What is your morning, Chandler? What is your morning routine?
Okay, my morning routine. I have the bed to myself. The dog is in my room, but it is sleeping in his own bed. So it's not even, that's another thing. Sometimes when the dog sleeps in my bed, he'll like crawl out like a few hours before I have to sleep. And again, small dog, lot of space, big personality. And and so like I'll wake up and my hips feel like fatigued and stuff just from like curating the space around him. Again, he's a Frenchie. He's just a French bulldog who will lay in the dead center of my bed, and I'm like, oh, but he's so cute. Oh, am I gonna move him? And so I'll just like letter S around him, and then he'll wake up like, I don't know, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., go crawl into his own bed. And I'm like, ugh, finally, I can get some real sleep. And so then it's almost like out of spite that I'll sleep in. But anyway, so.
I was enthralled. I was engaged. He's a cute dog.
He's a cute dog. He's a little bastard, though, and he's ruining my sleep schedule. No, he's not ruining. It's me. It's all intrinsic. I'm not projecting. You're projecting.
Chandler's sleep routine.
All right. So I'll wake up initially to turn my phone alarm off at usually 9 or 9:30, and I'll snooze 6 or 7 times until like I'm addicted to the snooze button. I think I just get off to hitting the snooze button to be like, nah. Um, so I finally wake up. Let's say on a good day, I'll wake up at like 10:30. On a good day. On an average day, like noon. Like I'll probably wake up noon or noon 30. And the first thing I do is check my phone, look for messages. Do I have a job yet? Nope. All right. Still broke, and existing costs money. At that point, I'll look through like Instagram or something, see like, oh, maybe Grace had sent me a funny Instagram reel. Maybe you sent me something. And then I'll see all of the things that are going on in the world, and I'll just feel the crushing weight of existing.
Oh my God.
Like how like everything we consume is harvested through exploitation, and then like I'm just kind of complicit in it, so it's also kind of my fault. And then I'll see like my peers, like people in the comedy scene or just people I went to school with who
Right now you're Jewish.
Yeah, right? And it's complicit. Oh fuck. And I'll see like my peers are excelling in their life goals and like are doing the things that they're fulfilling their dreams, and I'm seeing like how they're doing it. I'm like, "Oh, that's so fucking cool. I wish I could do that." Unfortunately, I'm too busy just being sad and broke and depressed. And then like I'll kind of do that like feel your body, like awareness, kind of mindfulness, and then just be like, oh, this is a fucking wreck. Why do I feel so bloated? I need to poop, but I also don't have to poop. I feel like it's just gas. And so like I feel bloated, but not like in a I'm gonna take a shit and feel better way, but in like a something needs to move. And so like then
and it's probably not your bowels.
no,
It's probably an emotion.
It's probably just a knot of guilt that's just in my intestines somewhere.
Because you're Jewish.
Because of the Jewish thing, and also being a gentrifier, and also like just kind of existing in late stage capitalism is just like, oh God. And so like feeling physically fatigued, and I'm like, oh well, maybe I just sleep it off. Also, I'm gonna probably give a little credit to the fatigue as the heavy drinking in the late hours of the evening before bed. Not necessarily hydrating enough, not getting a fulfilling nutrients. Instead, it's I want a little something sweet before I go to bed, so I'll have a handful of chocolate chips. Not all in one, well, sometimes, but like how you would eat like a bag of M&Ms. I'm just noshing on chocolate chips before bed, and so you wake up, and then that probably relates back.
It's like I don't understand why.
I don't get it.
I can't sleep. Let me just have 3 drinks, eat a pint of ice cream, smoke some weed, and not drink any water.
I don't get it.
I don't understand.
I have doctors baffled.
I wake up with anxiety.
Sorry. And then at this point, usually the dog is whining at me to go outside. He's just like, because he's got jowls too. So and I'm like, dude, go to bed. Dude, go back to sleep. But he's got to pee. His bladder is only the size of a softball. And so I go to take the dog out. We go up to the roof, especially lately. It's fucking freezing. I don't want to be up there too long. In fact, I'm just miserable having to go up the stairs to go to the roof. I got to put on pants. This is bullshit. So we go up to the roof. It's cold. He takes a while to look for a spot to pee. I want to go inside. It takes a whole like convincing thing where I'm like, okay, Lando, we got to go inside now. And he just kind of looks at me like, what do you mean? We just got here. And so sometimes then one of our building neighbors will come up as well, and they have a dog that they take to the roof, and Lando and this dog, best friends, best buds. They run around, they have a great time, and I'll make some conversation with the neighbors, and usually that like having to perform socializing a little bit just kind of wakes me up enough to where I am no longer immediately irritable because I kind of had to pretend to not be irritable for the sake of like just not being a dick to people. And which honestly,
it's like, oh, hi, love. How are you doing today? I appreciate you. I love you very much.
exactly.
But in your head, you're just like, it's not your fault. I'm just in a bad mood right now, and I just really want to go to sleep. You know what? Now I'm starting to understand my morning feelings.
Yeah.
Because definitely if you interact with me within the first 15 minutes, you're likely to catch a stray.
Right? Especially if we're close and I feel comfortable enough to be like, why the fuck are you talking to me? I might be a little abrasive. I might be a little sandpapery as far as my attitude. But with the neighbors, they're great. They're super nice. They're super fun. And I don't want them to think less of me. So instead, I perform socializing. And usually that's enough to kind of get me warmed up a little bit as far as like, okay, let's take on the day. And by take on the day, I mean, I'll take Lando, go back inside, give him food, and then I'll sit on my phone and watch some more, like either scroll through reels or I'll turn on some TV. And on a good day, I'll come back, I'll go to the bathroom and relieve myself. And then I'll hop in.
As one is wont to do.
Especially after you're standing up on the roof. You get to watch your dog piss all over the place. And you're like, God, I wish I could piss all over the place. I just wish.
You ever pull a Calvin and Hobbes?
And
just right over the roof?
Not over the roof. Okay, there have been times where, like, I peed in the gutter to go down. Because...
Oh, you splashed somebody.
No, maybe. Because I pee on the gutter that doesn't go over like the laundry room. So
you say so.
I swear I'm not that gross. And also it's an infrequent occurrence, but it doesn't never occur because it's first thing in the morning and Lando's kind of a dick sometimes, so I'll be like, hey, let's go inside. I gotta go. And he just looks at me with like a face that's like, what do you mean?
This is your problem. The reason why you have issues sleeping is because you pee outside.
I will die on that hill that peeing outside is the most freeing thing in the world. Everyone should be allowed. We should have designated piss spots at every park, I think. Like, I think that's an essential, like, and it's how, like, hey, touch grass, pee outside.
How do we fix you?
Wait. I'm not.
You're not done with your morning?
This is my morning routine.
My God.
On a good day, I'll come back, come inside, I'll make a little coffee, I'll clean the kitchen, and then I'll start the day. On a bad day, I'll go back into my room. I'll turn on my computer to do some work. The show that I was watching from the night before will pop up, and then I'm like, oh, I could just watch a couple episodes of this. I'll crawl back into bed. I'll get on my phone. I'll scroll through. I'll be like, do I jerk off real quick? Maybe that'll make me feel better. Do that. Feel sleepy afterwards. Take a nap. Next thing you know, it's 3 p.m. and now I'm ready to start my morning.
That explains a lot.
You get in the full, like, or this is a fun one too, is I'll wake and it'll be like noon-ish. I'll get back in and Grace will like start her day. She'll like go do whatever work she's doing, but the sun will just come in right through her window onto the bed ever so perfectly that you could just kind of curl up like a cat in the sunspot. Then it's game over.
Oh my God.
It is game over once I'm taking a nap in a sunspot. That's my morning routine.
You know what it sounds like? It actually sounds like you might need a job.
Yeah, right?
Or you just need something to do.
I just need something to do.
You know. Yeah, you need to go to sleep. What time did you wake up today?
I woke up today at noon.
Look at that. He's supposed to be here at 4. Got here at 5. If he had woken up at 11,
I would have been here at 4? Is that
No, you still would have been here at 5.
I still would have been here at 5. I still would have had to have done the little chores that I had to do. And I wouldn't have started them until the same time I started them today, which was at 3:30. But yeah, so let's get into how do we fix me? Because I know the answer is probably go to bed earlier, but I don't want to do that because, uh, yeah. Well,
Oh,
because it goes back to the whole sleep
that's,
anxiety
I'm
part.
gonna be real. That's kind of the
That's
maybe
the,
you know what you could do. You could perhaps cut off your caffeine before noon, then or at least before 3. You could, not have alcoholic beverages
ever?
about an hour before bed.
Oh.
You can, you know,
Look, why do they call it a nightcap if you're not supposed to have an entire hat's full of alcohol before you go to bed? I don't understand.
you could just do what I do, which is I just stay up as long as I need to, and then I set an alarm that I wake up before, and then I go about my day. Just like that. That's exactly what I do.
But it seems like you at least provide yourself the time in the morning, like you said, to have that autonomy to make the morning
I mean, you have
what
to.
you like about it.
Yeah, then you wake up, you gotta walk the dog. Then you don't get to lay in bed.
All right. So, okay, can you help just like as we're wrapping up here a little bit, can you help me just brainstorm some things to make my morning worth
I think that you're right. It's probably the morning, right?
I think it's
So it's probably the morning, which means that you have to prepare for the morning before. Maybe, I don't know, set up your breakfast before or something. I don't know. Whatever it is in the morning.
What do you do in the mornings to make you look forward to the morning?
Oh, I don't know. I'll think about, you got to set things for yourself. So, like, I like to make coffee. Having to make coffee and getting to have coffee and only drinking it in the morning means I got to get up and have it in the morning. If I wake up at 12:30, I'm not gonna be having coffee.
Really?
You
Like,
gotta
you give yourself a hard cutoff.
you
like
gotta you gotta give yourself something to do.
that? Yeah.
Also, you need time to stare at your computer, feel like a fraud, feel like you don't fit in, feel like you've made a huge mistake. That always works in.
Yeah.
Um,
But you have to account for that. So like what? 2 hours, 3 hours? Okay.
So I start working at 11, and I get up at like
Mm.
6.
Okay. No, but that's a good time
I lay
frame.
there on my phone,
Yeah.
you know. But then I start doing. You gotta ramp. Then also ramp up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I make sure I always go outside every day. Buy an avocado. I go to the supermarket, buy an avocado. Then you get outside. You get some. I'm one of those. You get some fresh air. You get a warm breeze.
I agree. In the summer times, like in the early like spring summer times, taking the dog out is marvelous because you get like a little bit of that sunshine, that cool breeze that comes through, and it's like a summertime, and you just kind of feel the vibe, and then I'm a little bit more ready to confront it through the winter though.
Okay, the morning sucks for everybody.
Okay.
Even for me. I got up early. It's like, even getting up early, you really cannot, because especially at the time I was working outside. So you spend the entire time just thinking about the fact that you're going to be going outside. Even if going outside is fine,
There's still the dread of
it's like,
going.
how
outside.
cold it is.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's like, okay,
And then you see outside. You don't even have to feel it. You could just look at the.
I'll be warm, but I have to put on all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I like to do? I like to listen to podcasts.
Oh, that's a good solution. That's what Grace does too. She's always putting on podcasts in the morning.
Does she listen to Was That in Good Taste?
I believe she does. And
Wow.
maybe you should too. No, but podcasts in the morning, especially like little fun humor podcasts, I feel like those do kind of help because it's like a radio show, like you said. More than me. I think part of it too that might help is I've been just kind of using the default alarm chimes. And granted, I don't know how people with iPhones who do the alarm one, the like bram, 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 like that one.
Oh, it's like.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's so jarring. I get irritated on behalf of the people who have to and it's just so in your face. For a while I was doing just like theme songs of shows that I liked, like Trailer Park Boys theme song. It's just kind of a pleasant piano riff. And I think that might help actually is going back to having selective alarm clock noises that kind of pull you out of sleep, not being so abrupt, but just like in a gentle, like, hey, it's time to wake up, bud.
You can spend $150 on a lightly, slowly dimming Bluetooth controlled clock from Casper.
Wow. Are we sponsored by them?
No.
Fuck them. That's not going to wake me up. My eyes are already closed.
God, before you burn it down. before you burn it down. What? That's the wrong one. No. Before you burn it down, we gotta. This is, you know what your problem is?
What's my
I know
problem?
what it is.
Yeah.
You have a time management problem.
Oh, wow, we're getting at the root of it.
That's what it is.
That's really what it is.
I think it's just a time management problem because, oh man, I'm literally like about to wrap it up. It's because you got to keep it tight and kind of concise when you do like certain things. So it's like in the morning I make coffee, but I don't take 40 minutes to do it. You know what I mean? Like I try to make it as consistent, as short, and as quality as possible, just like our podcast. Was That in Good Taste?
Viewable on streaming services everywhere.
Look, I'm like,
I feel like I've been fixed.
Because you know what happened?
I feel like this actually, I think we kind of got to a breakthrough. If I can practice better time management, then I think maybe we all can have a better relationship with mornings. And it's all contingent on my time management.
We're going to revisit this.
I love that.
Because you need to go to sleep. Not right now. Right now.
I need to go to sleep right now. Good night.
Just like you need to come back next week, where I think we're going to be talking about colleges. College, being in college, doing college, frat party stuff.
College was the last time I had any time management skills, and that's because I both was working and going to class. And any free time I had, I could do with whatever.
He's giving it away for free.
Oh, shit.
You got to come back next week. Chandler, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Chandler Does Jokes on Instagram. You can also find me at Chandler Does Jokes on TikTok. And where can they find you, James?
Well, they can find me everywhere, obviously. You can find me on TikTok at living_dad_joke. Leave me alone, okay? You could find me on Instagram at The Art of Giving Up. And of course, as always, you can find us pretty much everywhere. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Was It in Good Taste? Instagram, Was It in Good Taste? TikTok, Was It in Good Taste? Facebook, Was It in Good Taste? If there's a place, and it's Was That in Good Taste, including Was That in Good Taste at gmail.com, we're going to be there. You know why?
Hot.
Because we have good taste, I think.
I think we do. Now remember, drinking is not always required,
but it is recommended. Ooh, I want to have none but oil.
Me too. That was a really good one.
I want to have one.